Hey y'all, welcome to Paige's Perspective, where I help you find your inner strength to cope with life. This episode may be all over the place, so bear with me. We're going to talk about healing a little bit. It can be messy sometimes. You know, we may start our healing journey thinking, yes, this is great. I'm excited to make some changes and feel empowered. Sometimes it may be scary. You might feel like, I'm not ready for this. Healing may expose things I can't handle or don't want to handle. Either way, it's okay, no matter where you're feeling or how you feel about healing. You're in the right place, and we're going to just process a little bit of this today. There are ups and downs in healing. It isn't linear. The journey will have moments of heavy emotions and that doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It means that you're processing information and important things that a lot of people tend to avoid. The journey may be difficult, but it's worth it because it helps you live a life that aligns with your values. That's what we try to do here at TUFO, is help people live a life that aligns with the values. Like, that's the core basis of what we do. But healing is hard. You know, it's messy, it's exhausting. And sometimes it feels like no matter how much work you're doing, you're still standing in the same place wondering why you feel so damn tired. Sometimes it feels like you're taking steps back. Sometimes you feel so overwhelmed with information coming at you, you can't even think straight. That is okay. This is normal. This is part of the process. Sometimes we just need a bit of a shift in our perspective to look at healing as something exciting, but also understand that sometimes it's effing hard. I am a go person sometimes, but I also have to recognize when it's okay to pause. Not give up, but pause. We need to pause and recharge sometimes in order to gain more clarity. I think we forget that even healing takes a lot of energy, emotional, mental, physical energy, all the things. You know, we go from surviving chaos to trying to reclaim ourselves and expect it to feel empowering all the time. But the truth is, sometimes the process of healing feels just as heavy as what broke us. Again, it's okay. It's not a cue to stop, but it is a cue to take a breather. Let's say you've been reading, journaling, listening to podcasts, going to therapy, all the support groups, working a program, and really diving into everything, and you hit a wall. You become so overwhelmed with the information or the work you're doing that you feel drained. Been there, done that. Hell, it still happens to us because we're human. We are meant to find balance in all the things. And sometimes that means going heavy on personal development at first, but we know that this is not sustainable because, again, like I said, you might have hit a wall and you feel extremely overwhelmed. So it doesn't work out long term, but eventually you find that balance necessary to keep you going. And we're going to talk about that. Like, I know us. I know how many of us will go from one extreme to the other, which in my experience is part of this life journey. You know, let's get back to pausing for a moment. There's a difference between giving up and taking a pause. A pause is intentional. It's your system saying, hey, you know what? I need a second to catch up with all the changes you're making. Yes, drastic changes are necessary, but so is pausing. We talk about dual thinking here a lot because so many of us have the all or nothing, black or white mentality, and we're trying to challenge those thoughts to find space for gray area thinking. When we feel like giving up on our personal development journey or our healing journey, that feeling comes from fear. The feeling when we feel like we just want to give up and throw in the towel. And it typically comes from fear. It's kind of avoidance, which comes from fear. You know, maybe we're afraid of learning things about ourselves or others or our relationship that, they shake our reality. Maybe we're afraid of building ourselves up because then that means we have to make some really challenging decisions. Maybe we're afraid we just can't handle all the things being, put on us. It's okay to be afraid, but we don't want the fear to control us or stop us. Facing our fears is what will help us grow, but we get to pause while we face our fears. So a real pause comes from self-respect. It's choosing to take some time to recharge. It's validating yourself, allowing yourself to rest without guilt. Stop forcing yourself to push through every moment. You know, you're not supposed to be on all the time. You don't have to constantly analyze, journal, self-improve. You know, we need moments of joy in our lives. Sometimes the work is taking a walk. Sometimes it's turning off the podcasts, closing the book, and going outside and being present. Sometimes it's remembering what laughter feels like. Sometimes it's getting out of your environment for a bit to remember that you are capable of being happy. Sometimes it's resting. Sometimes it's driving in silence. Sometimes it's a mini vacation. Let's talk about joy for a second, because this one is really important. When you've spent years walking on eggshells, tiptoeing around someone's moods, or just living in that fight or flight state, joy can feel threatening. You've been trained to anticipate the next wave of chaos, and your system learned that safety doesn't last. So when a moment of peace shows up, part of you holds your breath waiting for it to disappear. That's why joy feels foreign at first, or it may feel a bit uncomfortable. And it's not because you don't have anything to be happy about. It's because your body just doesn't trust it. And it's like standing in the sunlight after living underground for years. It's bright, it's beautiful, but it's also disorienting. You might even find yourself sabotaging those moments, talking yourself out of laughter, brushing off compliments, finding something to worry about. And that's not because you don't want joy. It's because joy requires surrender, and surrender feels unsafe when control has been your shield. But guys, joy is medicine. Joy doesn't mean that everything's fine. It doesn't mean that you're pretending nothing happened. It means that you're expanding your emotional capacity to include more than pain. It's not denial. This is recovery. It's learning that your story can hold both the grief and the laughter. Joy is what keeps healing from becoming just another form of punishment. It's what reminds you that all this work you're doing has a purpose, to bring you back to life, not to keep you stuck analyzing the wreckage. So if joy feels strange right now, that's okay. Let it. Stop and smell the roses. Matt and I stopped and smelled the roses literally on a walk recently. Do something that makes you laugh. Give yourself permission to pause, to recharge, to feel joy, and find the balance in healing. If you've ever found yourself thinking, I can't stop or I'll just lose momentum when it comes to your personal development or healing or whatever it is you're going through, I want you to know this. You don't lose healing by resting. You lose it by burning out. Rest is part of progress. When you pause intentionally, you're allowing your body and mind to integrate what you've learned. You're letting things settle. Be honest with yourself. When you feel overwhelmed or like things are just too heavy, take some time to pause. Ask yourself if it's too heavy because you're afraid of what will unravel, or are you just in need of a pause, of a break? And when it's time to come back, you're going to feel that gentle nudge that says, okay, I'm ready again. You will. You'll feel it again. It'll be there. But you don't need to come back swinging. You just need to come back honest. It's not, this healing journey is not about speed. It's about sustainability. You can move forward at your own pace and still be doing the work. If you're listening to this and you've been feeling heavy, if you're tired of the constant self-reflection and the endless inner work, please hear me. You are not failing. You are just tired, and you are allowed to rest. Take a walk. Watch a funny movie, sit in the sun, get a good cry in, laugh with someone who feels safe. Remind yourself that you're still here, and that's something worth celebrating. So take your pause, breathe. Then when you're ready, come back. You'll find the work waiting for you, but this time you will have more energy, more clarity, and more compassion for yourself because you didn't quit. You just took a breath. You have been through some really challenging things in life, and it's okay to pause. In fact, it's necessary. We need to recharge. Again, just be honest with yourself and make sure you aren't pausing because of fear, but because you need to take a breather and come back when you've recharged. Make sure you are finding time for joy and laughter. Life is too short to be analyzing everything all the time and looking within. We need some self-indulgence occasionally to get through and be happy. In our Independently Strong program, There are some tough exercises to get through, but they are super eye-opening and truly help others gain clarity about their situation. But I encourage those who are going through the program to take their time to process and pause when needed, but get back to it when they've recharged. Don't give up when it gets hard. Pause intentionally. If you're interested in our program that we built with a licensed therapist, just head over to twfo.com or independentlystrong.com to check it out. You're not alone in this journey. Do something that you know makes you happy. It's okay. Give yourself permission to laugh and be present. You don't have to analyze everything all the time. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you gain a little tool in your toolbox to help navigate this life. That is all I have for this week. Until next time, I'm Paige. Bye.